Oh, Marco. Marco Checchetto is no longer on this book. I mean, look, I feel like, I don't have balls, but I feel like it's such an instance of artists giving me blue balls. Why would you have a man do 10 issues out of 12? And look, I'm going to ask you to refrain from referencing the most famous pool game and the most famous version of polo when talking about Marco going missing here. God damn, it's like, just because he's dealt with that his entire life. And I would like to take the opportunity here to shit on professional water polo players and say that you're not really athletes. You know who's more of an athlete than you are? Cheerleaders who work in the competitive level, and also competitive dart players. Only because more people watch competitive dart play. Billiards, shit, wrong. I'm in the bar, but it was the wrong sport. Watch professional dart playing than water polo. So, let's just all take solace in the fact that Marco, hopefully he's going on to bigger and better things, and water polo players are pieces of trash. Okay, so I've got Old Man Hawkeye, number 11 here. I'm going to be honest here. The art downgrade is real, but it's Marvel fine. 2018 Marvel fine. Like, I say those words and I feel like you understand what I'm saying. This means that maybe this whole time I've been under the hypnotism of Marco Checchetto's artwork. And maybe Ethan Sachs isn't the fantastic writer that I believe him to be, so we're going to see if that's the case. Now, I do love this series, so I'm not going to show everything. I will say that this artist does come through in the time he needs to come through. So, let's just go ahead and get into this. So, we're going to start off here, and immediately you can tell. I just feel like Marco would do this better, oh shit, you know what, I forgot something. I forgot, but like, okay, picture a Marvel character who deserves another shot, who deserves another reboot, deserves a fresh start. Are you picturing in your mind who it should be? Okay, you ready? You got it in your brain. Was it Captain Marvel? I gotta tell you, damn, bitch, can you just find a way? Can you get past 11 issues? I mean, I feel like the main issue with people is that she had short hair and she didn't have tits, so, I mean, there you go, but I just don't think she's that good of a character, and they're gonna reboot her every 5 seconds. I feel like, just me talking about her right now, I'm eventually gonna be tapped to write her, and then I'm gonna get egotistical with it. So let's just get into this story. Okay. Clint and Kate, they're headed to the Weapon X bunker. They're looking for Baron von Zemo. They have signals and they're trying... She wants to, just hang back for a second, get a lay of the land, do a little bit of reconnaissance. But our boy Clint here, he can't physically see. And also, it's just too damn cold up here. So he goes up to this very secure Canadian military. I don't know if... I feel like Canadian military is less than American military, only because American military uses, like, every dollar from tax. So I can't really see what he's doing here, but I think he just shoved an arrow in it, and then he kajiggered it to open up here, and then he gets rewarded with being able to walk into this secure facility and hearing Zemo call him out over the speaker here. But Kate, she knows it's a trap, and it gets slammed on him. And I just gotta ask you, are garage doors, like, the spookiest? Like, I can't wait for the future where all doors start from the bottom. Or would they start from the top if you kept them open? A la Star Trek. I've never watched an episode of Star Trek, but I have seen both the Trekkies movies, because they used to come on TV all the time, and I skipped school a lot. So, Kate's on the outside, Clint is on the inside. I gotta tell you, I would be turning back. See this? I feel like Marco would do this better. But she has to go into the goddamn sewer to rescue him. And Zemo, he's telling him a little bit about that glaucoma, so he turns the lights on him, and these guys are just fucking standing there, and I gotta ask you, how long do you think they've been standing there? It's just, I feel like Zemo is like, listen, Air Barton is gonna be here in like tomorrow, or possibly months from now, because it's like nuclear winter out here. He's old. I mean, his joints are probably locking up out there. Maybe he just starves to death. Wouldn't that be an anticlimactic conclusion to this? Oh yeah, Hawkeye, he just starved to death. Or he had to eat Kate. I feel like Kate would probably be more likely to eat him. But he's like, look, Air Barton's coming. Just stand here for as long as it takes. That's a shitty position to have. Zemo, he's calling him out for being a bad father, but he knows it, so he gets a little arrow action onto this speaker, which that's tough, because the speaker like that, I think, costs around $3 million, so he's getting him in that wallet. But, okay, so one of these guys actually directs him. Look, here's another fresh start, and I kind of want to make fun of it, but that cover's kind of sick. So, one of these guys points him the direction for Zemo here, and he's welcomed, not by Zemo, but by this guy, who, goddamn, is quite the fan of Hydra, if not an actual member. And I guess, can we stop with, like, including what could be conceived as flesh color? And you're like, Lindsay, that's not flesh color. Like, my shit is so, like, that's not the light hitting it, that's my actual color. I'm pale as fuck, so when I look at this, I'm like, it's weird that they would cut his costume like that. But this guy, and also he's got, like, war paint or just scars on his face, and if it's war paint, then that's cultural appropriation. You know that one, guys. You know that's not cool. But if his Nazi is doing it, Nazis should be walking around with, like, Indian head chief. Indian chief, like, mohawk shit. You know what I'm talking about. The headdress, Nazis need to be rocking those all the time, because it'd be pretty funny to see that. So Kate, she's doing this shit, which let's all remember that she's definitely, like, at least 55. So, but then these guys, they literally smell some shit, and Kate comes down, she gives some foot justice, and I gotta tell you, I believe these to be drawn by Marco Checchetto. I mean, it's so detailed. These boots are almost the most detailed thing in this entire comic, and I don't believe that Mobley or Massa capable. Yeah, I'm sorry. So I will skip the next page. Guy threatens to shoot her. She gets an arrow off quicker than a gun, which maybe his fingers were cold or something. So she uses murdering that guy as a threat for her to tell him where Hawkeye is. And then we see this. So we see these two guys up here. You know, this guy is immediately a German scientist because they have not updated their wardrobe since 1941. And we see this guy, Clint. He's like, hey, how about you come in here in person? I'll give you an archery demonstration. And you know what? I'm so glad that despite everything, Clint will offer Zemo an archery demonstration. Like, come on, man. That's some sportsmanship that I can't even comprehend. I mean, if I'm playing you in anything, I fucking hate you, and I'm so sick of seeing this fucking sportsmanship is overrated. I want to murder the other guy. But he's like, you know what, I can put the murder on hold and I'll give you a little demonstration. But Zemo, he's not taking the bait. And he's appearing as a hologram, which that is going to come into play. But I'm not going to show it because the reveal is fucking awesome. So there's your incentive to buy this. So this guy, he doesn't really have that great of a vocabulary, because when you're building a super soldier Nazi murder machine, you go a little lax on the intelligence, you know, because, like, you don't want them realizing that there's more to murder in this world. There are more ideologies than, you know, Nazism or just, like, being a racist piece of shit in general. You're going to keep that frontal lobe small. But you're going to make that cerebellum huge as shit because you want them to have fantastic balance. They start fighting. This guy starts throwing the shield around. Clint, he's getting taken a little bit, no lie, even with his fancy arrows. And then Kate, she breaks into a place, and she knocks the power out. So, of course, the red light of doom comes on. Actually, the Nazi scientist gives him a syringe, which, you know what, if a Nazi scientist gave me or you a syringe, would you inject it into yourself, or would you inject it to the bad guy? Because he injects it into the bad guy, but I kind of feel like maybe in that moment I'd be like, oh, dude, Nazi steroids, the best kind. Just stab that, or at the least like some cortisone or something, you know, something to help you out. And then you end up with your goddamn head exploded everywhere. And it's just like, he's actually just destroyed some of probably his best work, so, you know. Shout out to you, Nazi German scientist. You know what, he may not even be a Nazi, but he fucking looks like one. So when they finally get the lights turned back on, they see that this guy's head is like Kevin from The Office, just dropped that chili fucking everywhere. We gotta find this Archer. We gotta get him to scoop this shit back up into his neck hole, and then maybe see if we've got a Hydra super soldier guy anymore. And then what could make this even better for our titular hero here? Would it be fucking Bullseye showing up? Because, you know, every time you forget about Bullseye in this series, he shows up. And I mean that, you know, in a good way. It's like, it keeps you on your toes. But, he shows up. The art here isn't actually that bad. He's got some really good lines here. I brought the charcoal and the lighter fluid. Joke's on you. This is a propane house. I want to taste the meat, not the heat. You should be very ashamed of yourself. And then, God, he finally finds Zemo. Their conversation, their dialogue is fucking fantastic. The art in that scene is great as well. It's wonderfully executed. The best panel in this, I'm going to be straight up, is the final panel with Zemo. And, so I'm not going to show that. And you know what, I'm going to go ahead and show the final page of this issue here, because the meat of this issue was the confrontation between Zemo and Clint. A little bit of him fighting with the super soldier. I didn't show all of it, but okay. So this guy shows up, and I feel like he was one of the former Thunderbolts, but I don't know their names, so, you know, my bad. But he's got a lot of metal on, which normally means something. I almost said a good guy or a bad guy, but Iron Man, he's like all metal, baby. So he says, let's speed up this process on the going blind thing, shall we? And he grabs his head. Says, feel those optic nerves detaching yet? And he fucking blinds him. I can't see anything. Yeah, when your eyes go milky like that, you can't. We haven't developed the medical technology to demilkify the eyes, but I suspect the way to demilkify the eyes would be to get those udders attachments that we put on cows, and you just stick them onto your eyeball and just start sucking it, because it'll suck the milk out, and then you'll be able to see, is what I think is happening there. But I just showed this because this is like, normally I wouldn't show it, but since we're right before the final issue, this is like a fantastic cliffhanger, because this whole series was beat the clock on going blind, and then it's like, oh shit, he's going blind, and it ain't good. And this guy, he's got these boots on, man. He's wearing blue jeans in Canada. He's wearing a Canadian tuxedo almost. It's fucking dangerous.